Geometry Dash's 10-year anniversary is tomorrow, and people are going insane. That's because a while back in May, Roptop posted in the community of what seems to be a secret countdown to the release date of Update 2.2. Apparently by each post, he decreases a rub, if you know what I really mean. So 2.2 might be released tomorrow. Realistically, no. Though I do think we'll get an official release date. But I do have a few concerns about this update, and I'm going to talk about it in this video. One thing I want to get clear is, I'm still very excited about this update releasing. You might think I'm hating on this update, but I'm not, okay? If you do, then that's a skill issue. Besides, I'm going off the info we have about it, not the real thing, so... yeah. Roptop added a new game mode for Update 2.2 as they call it the Swing for short. It's basically the ship and the ball game mode combined. Wait, hold up, basically? It's literally the same mechanical working as the ship and ball game mode combined. Like, what was the thought process behind this? Now, hold your horses here. I don't know that for sure, since I'm going off the GDPS 2.2 editor. Sub-Zero. Yeah, but still, if we look at the first official level sneak peek, Roptop posted in 2020, you can see how open the Swingcopter game mode section is. And what pisses me off is that you can do this with so many other game modes, like the ship, or the UFO, and heck, even the wave. When you look at the Swingcopter, it looks like it works exactly like the ship. The problem with this game mode is that it doesn't make a difference with certain game modes. You can do so many other things with other game modes that the Swingcopter is chosen to be capable of. Now you can argue that the Swingcopter is much harder to control than the rest of the other ones, but that's what makes it the worst game mode in the game. It doesn't feel like a fun and responsive game mode, it feels like a more bugged ship glitch. For example, ship parts can be replaced with the UFO, but even if the UFO is harder to coordinate, or harder to control altogether, it works like a different game mode, not something that feels the same. Another example, we have the ball and the spider game mode, and even though they work the same, they feel different. The spider responds immediately to when you click, and the ball is much harder to coordinate because the slow gravity change makes it feel much more weighted. And do we even need to say anything to compare the wave or the robot with the rest? If you compare the ship and the Swingcopter, would they be different? No, they wouldn't. You can do what the Swingcopter would do with the ship exactly the same way, and it would only feel less out of bound. And get this, you can straight fly with both game modes! Like, can you do that with any other game mode? Answer, no. Well, not legitimately. You get the idea. There were so many other better ideas for a new game mode, and I showed a really bad example when I made that YouTube short about my ideas for new game modes. And that opportunity got wasted on a ball ship-like game mode. What does the ship change that the Swingcopter can't with other certain game modes? This game mode is only going to complicate more community-made levels because of this, and it won't feel fun anymore. What was the thought process behind this? Okay, I spent way too much time talking about the first thing. Let's just move on. Now, you might assume I think this idea is terrible, but the community maybe dislike it. I don't hate it, I just once again have a few concerns about this idea, and I'll explain it in a few seconds. But for now, let me explain this idea based on the upcoming official levels. Roptop added camera controls that make the levels more interesting, whether it's going off walls, a static camera, and even a whole rotation. I feel like the zoom and the camera rotate triggers are to make the level look harder, not cooler. But that's to mention, the community made levels can't be trusted with camera controls, and makes them feel overused of the same features, and seems kinda cringe. Roptop uses them okay, but I hope he doesn't learn too much off the community made levels, and overuse them in future official levels. You could say I'm criticizing them, but that's a custom level problem, so I won't go on about it. So we're getting official levels when 2.2 releases, but from what we got so far, it doesn't seem complete. And the reason for that is because the levels seem unreadable or unpredictable. And I know I said I want to go on about the camera controls, but I take it back when I said the official levels never overuse them. The levels we'll be getting won't feel like Geometry Dash you know. And knowing that they're official levels makes me worried about what will happen in the future. Because these levels are practically being forced for you to play. Because once you struggle trying to sight read the new 2.2 features, it feels more of a custom level rather than something Roptop would implement. That's because the new features are being overused too much just to show off what's new in the game. People might disagree with me, but I personally dislike the new levels. Even though they look cool as hell, they feel rushed, and information overload on how much more there is to the game. Once again, I'm going off the videos, not the real thing, so just spam your keyboard in the comment section, outsmarting me. And this is what will make new levels so much harder. This time, it's not based on skill, it's based on sight reading, and Geometry Dash is not supposed to be based on that entirely. These new features are very cool, but I don't think it's a good idea to overuse them just to show off a cool gimmick for a solid minute and a half. So recently, Roptop added a scale trigger, which has been wanted for so long, and I'm surprised this wasn't added in any previous updates like 2.1. Like, how come this never existed before and is now being added into the game? But that's not my complaint. The problem is, there are new triggers that work the exact same way as many other existing things. For example, the reverse trigger switches direction immediately, but that makes the mirror portal useless. And there is a bunch of portals that have been replaced with either potions, collectibles, or even nothing at all. Once you learn how far the game has come, you will start to realize that it abuses existing things over time. It feels repetitive, and even though it overuses a lot of features, you realize that the levels only overuse the new 2.2 features, not the old classic ones that feel nostalgic when you think about it when you first played the game. Half of what you previously learned about the game is being forgotten, and is being replaced with easier working mechanics that have no sense to exist. This feels like a big chunk of the editor being used up with duplicates of the same objects. Besides, the editor is a mess anyway, but we're talking about update 2.2, not the entire game's problem, so suck my dick. Every update says these two sentences. New unlockables, bug fixes and tweaks. Unlockables haven't been that big of a problem, though they could benefit from more challenge or just more to unlock altogether. Also, for the love of God, I'm stuck with these locked items because of a funny description that I admire, but it doesn't help my f***ing situation! A lot of custom levels tend to abuse the bugs and sometimes make it hard to beat the level. Roptop said he fixed most of these, including the robot bug where you hold right before you hit a jump pad. But that will make future custom levels practically unplayable. Abusing the bugs to get through the level is an original idea, and getting rid of that opportunity will ruin most of the community. New levels are now constantly based off of the same idea, and now the last original ones are being taken away. The bug and power chip got removed, but the one earlier in the level is still there. At one point, Roptop tweeted and said he'll fix the second bug and power chip. But in my opinion, finding bugs in levels are way more fun than actually playing them. Once you experience the bugs, you constantly get used to it, and all of a sudden that's being taken away. Others might consider this a good thing, but you know why this is on the list based off my own opinion. Just read the title. This idea is cool and all, but do we even need to say anything about this? Geometry Dash is a game where you jump over spikes, and all of a sudden it's becoming Super Mario, but it's on a $1 budget. You can control your player left and right now, and it seems to be used for parkour madness, but I just don't know how to feel about this, and altogether doesn't seem like the Geometry Dash we know. Look, I'm happy with different ideas and all that, but don't make it similar to the default platformer games like most of them in the world. We all know that this update has taken almost 7 years to develop, and that it's the biggest update in the game. But the main problem is, the update is too big. I don't even consider this an update anymore. This feels like an all-new chapter to the game. The update has been delayed several times, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. The problem with this big of an update is that the new features will be overused, old features will be abused and replaced, and adding onto it makes the update way too big to seem original enough and to keep the new ideas original. Most of our expectations for this update are very high, but that isn't a good thing. We'll be overwhelmed with what we get, but then expect more and more over time. The community has been waiting for this update for so long that it's become a big meme now. But when it releases, most of the Geometry Dash channels will be put down because of the ideas. There won't be much to talk about anymore about the game. Waiting for 2.2 is most of the game's history, and what started most of the Geometry Dash channels. This started out as a simple cube game where you jump over spikes and jump on blocks, and where it is now is because of update 2.2. We're either scared or excited whether this update comes out. But what matters is that Roptop keeps this promise, and makes this the greatest update in Geometry Dash history. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I spent half a day making this and was so scared I couldn't get this out before Geometry Dash 10-year anniversary. But even so, I am so happy with how far Geometry Dash has come. All by a single developer, which is what I find crazy. Once again, I'm still very excited about this update. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'll see you guys in another Geometry Dash video. Peace out.